Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Tower Babble podcast, episode 8. It's just me and Daniel today. No
Yo.
Jeremy. He said yo. No Jeremy. He's working, so we're doing a. Normally, our podcasts are at night. We like the ambiance, but today it's a daytime thing over Skype. So we're back to Skype. A little house cleaning thing. Our YouTube stuff is all caught up. So if you guys are listening to it on YouTube, all our episodes are back there. The format might be a little bit different. I haven't broken it up as much because of the way our shows kind of evolved to less of a segmented type of show. So if it stays that way, if we stay as more of like a free flow type thing, I might just upload the whole thing as one episode, which I did for episode 6, and I'll do for episode 7 and 8 later today. Also, shout out to Russell and Steven. They're the first comments we had on our website. It sounds lame. It sounds lame, but it's important to me.
Thanks, guys.
So, and they were on my Batman reviews. So, if you guys are watching Beware the Batman, which everyone knows is the replacement to Green Lantern and Young Justice, I've been reviewing them, and I really actually am enjoying it. So, try not to let your hate for Cartoon Network stop you from watching the show. It's pretty good. Also, this episode's probably it's going to be all about Comic-Con because that's obviously the big news. But there's so much news that came out. We're just going to concentrate on the big stuff today, and then when Jeremy's back and I've had more time to go through it and with a fine-tooth comb, we can go into the minutia next week or whenever we have time. So we'll jump right into it with the Arkham Origins trailer. Let's just start with the video game stuff.
One little video, yeah.
So the Copperhead trailer for Arkham Origins, they changed Copperhead from usually a guy and usually a pretty lame villain into looks like a pretty badass girl. They used 3 different mocap performers to do that trailer. Like when she's crawling down like those like posts or whatever, those poles, that's like a Cirque du Soleil artist, and then it's like a very talented martial artist when he's fighting Batman, and then someone else for the other parts. But
sick. It looks pretty cool. They definitely made Copperhead interesting. Like you said, he was kind of a lamer villain before. That was always part of his origin story. He was supposed to be like a contortionist and like weird like that.
Yeah.
But like seeing it with the cinematic trailer like that just made it look really sweet and really exciting for the gameplay, different gameplay. And it looked like she kind of poisoned him at the end of the trailer too, right?
She used to use it was kill you in like 30 minutes type like poison that's from the Copperhead snake.
Okay.
It'd be interesting to see if they use that or if it's like the Curari.
It looked like it could be even like the Scarecrow sequences in the first game. Like he gets kind of like the fear gas, then he starts coughing, and like it's a whole different gameplay sequence because of that poison.
I didn't even think of that. That's actually that's a good idea. You should be on the game dev team. Jeff Johns actually said that he liked this interpretation of Copperhead so much that this is the one that they're going to put into the New 52.
Yeah.
So this is the second time. This is the second time that they've done something with like outside the main. Well, not this. I'm sure it's happened a couple times. We know with Harley Quinn, which was from the animated series, was brought into regular continuity from the show because they liked it so much. So this is another like circumstance of that. Well, they also did that with Mr. Freeze. His origin with Nora is also brought from the show to the books. So yeah, I think that's pretty big.
It's pretty
deal.
Cool, yeah. The other thing I saw today, I don't remember where I saw it, but Mad Hatter's been confirmed for that game as well.
Really?
As one of the enemies.
That's cool.
So like he would also have those kind of weird trippy sequences. So I don't know.
Well, he's probably more like those weird trippy sequences.
But like the thing with Mad Hatter, like that's different than all the other villains thus far that have been announced. Like Mad Hatter he's not like a physical villain. He's more of a like psychological villain. Like Bane is kind of smart, whatever, but he's still more of a physical threat to Batman. Copperhead, obviously physical, right? Mad Hatter's a different approach to all that.
So like it's all assassins, right? So are you supposed to? Is Mad Hatter going to be
the whole premise of the game?
Yeah.
Black Mask hires a bunch of assassins to come in. It's like it's supposed to happen over one night,
Christmas
and
Eve.
everybody's just gunning for Batman. So I guess Mad Hatter wants a piece of the pie, but like And also, the thing I was reading said that he would have a larger part in this. Like in Arkham City, he had a very small little side mission. He would have a larger role in this game.
Oh yeah, that was a weird mission that I
Yeah,
almost forgot about that one. Like, but sweet part of the game though.
it was cool. Yeah, it was cool, but it was a very small, like minute part of the game.
If this is a little as an aside, the spoilers, the Hush part of Arkham City.
Hmm.
If they ever do a sequel, I want it to be Hush as the main villain to Arkham City.
Yeah, that should be sweet. I think Scarecrow's pretty like that. There's also that Easter egg spoiler, whatever. Fuck
Yeah.
it. That with a Scarecrow leading up to the next game. The whole thing with this Arkham Origins is that it's an origin, like it's a prequel. So I don't know if Hush would necessarily be in it.
No, probably not because he was doing those murders during Arkham City to get the skin parts. Remember?
Yeah, yeah.
So apparently he's in his second year in Arkham. Like he's only been fighting crime for about a year, and it's been mostly thugs and like the Maronis and the Falcones.
Yeah,
whatever.
like getting rid of the gang first.
So this is gonna be his first time where he's up against someone who's like a physical match, or not in the case of like Deathstroke, probably
that's cool. So it's
stronger
like,
than him.
obviously, like Joker will have been like this won't be his first meeting with Joker,
Probably
or
not.
some of these characters. But at the same time, like the whole thing with Black Mask, hiring all these people is like it gives people like Deathstroke and Deadshot potentially a reason to come to Gotham and a reason to meet Batman and be introduced into the universe.
Yeah, I mean we've already met Floyd Lawton once in Arkham City, but that was only a small. Again, these are all side stuff.
Yeah, small side missions.
But like he's gonna probably have a bigger role in this, and like
The
we already
thing
know.
the thing I take away from this is that one of the big complaints with Arkham City, first of all, phenomenal game, one of my favorite games ever made. But one of the things a lot of people had a problem with was that a lot of the supervillains seemed like they were downplayed, that they were just relegated to these side missions, that they didn't really do the characters justice. And this seems like it's more. They're going to have like a smaller group. There won't be like as many cameo type characters, but it'll be a lot of characters that are probably more fleshed out and more imposing and more challenging, and like really give the characters their due, you know?
Well, that's
Like Bane should not just be a little side mission where you throw a batarang and he gets locked in a cage and then he's gone, you know?
it's a good point. Apparently, they're saying with Bane is that he's not going to be the hulked out version.
Yeah,
that we've
he looks
seen.
a lot smaller.
Because this is like before the whole Titan stuff, so that's cool. He'll be more like the comic book, like mental and physical adversary. So we'd already know. Okay, so who do we have? We know Joker's in it. We know Mad Hatter's in it. We know Copperhead. We know Deathstroke, Deadshot.
Bane, Deadshot's not confirmed yet, I don't think.
Yeah, man, he's in that first trailer.
Oh, okay, yeah, maybe you're right.
Yeah.
Remember?
What else? Bane. Did I say Bane?
Yeah, you said Bane already.
Okay, so that's like already a good chunk of people, and we haven't even gotten to like we're still months out from October, right? So a couple months out from launch. I'm excited to play as Deathstroke. That looks like a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, if you pre-order, you can play as Deathstroke.
Yeah, well, I mean, you'll be able to play as Deathstroke anyway.
Eventually. I'm trying to think of what other villains kind of fit that theme, you know?
Well, I mean, they already. Would you have thought of Copperhead before? I
would not have. I would not have.
The last thing I saw Copperhead in was like the Justice League animated series had every once in a while like they did like the like Legion of Doom type story, and Copperhead was sometimes in that. That was like and that Shade
the
guy.
Serpent Society.
Yeah, the Serpent Society. No, isn't that Marvel?
Well, yeah, shit, I fucked up.
But they're the same. They're really the same.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else to say on Arkham Origins? Because everyone knows.
Apparently, Penguin's also in it. That's the only thing I just looked up.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
But yeah, Penguin's going to be kind of the same deal as Black Mask, though. Penguin and Black Mask are they're hiring people to take down Batman. Penguin shouldn't be just facing Batman head on like that. No. At least not the way that he's been handled in this universe already.
No, he won't, and he doesn't have that bottle in his eye yet. So that'll be cool to see. Maybe they'll see how he gets that bottle in his eye.
Yeah.
I think we can move on from Arkham then. But we'll stick with DC. And the other big news was that Zack Snyder announced the next Superman movie will be a Batman Superman movie, and they already said that the title will almost certainly be Batman versus Superman or Superman versus Batman.
Not like a slash or anything. It has to be versus.
I don't know why versus. I would have liked Superman and Batman because it's already a thing. But we'll see. And
it's for sure you're going to be like a new Batman.
Yeah, well, they already released a couple of things. So they released the logo, that show they had the new Superman logo from Man of Steel with a new Batman logo behind it. Very similar to like what we're used to with the Batman Superman like combo logo.
Yeah.
But this one has a very fat, almost like Batman symbol, all similar to what you might see in like Dark Knight Returns, like the fatter version. And they've already said, one of the producers came out with saying how they've already finished with the Nolan universe, the Nolan trilogy. That's done. There's going to be a new Batman. That's confirmed. That's for sure.
And that's probably the best way to approach it. That's fine. Batman doesn't need a new origin story, so like everyone knows who Batman is, so that he can just be in this movie, and they don't have to explain too much.
No, I mean I think that's pretty fair. It's like everyone knows Batman's origin, everyone knows Superman's origin, and everyone knows like Spider-Man's origin. Those things like they didn't even need to be explained. Everyone knows those things already. I mean, Spider-Man got two. He got two origin stories. That was unnecessary. I mean, we never really talked about it, but I didn't really like Amazing Spider-Man.
I don't know why. I thought it was great. I thought it was a great Spider-Man story. Spider-Man 1 and 2 were solid too.
Better than Spider-Man 1 and 2?
Maybe not better, but on par.
Well, it's better than Spider-Man 3.
Of course. That goes without saying.
One day they might make a good Venom. One day.
Can only hope.
Well, they've already said they're going to do like 6 Spider-Man movies, hey? Like they have the next like 3 planned out. So, I guess since Sony only has that one character, they have it all.
Might as well make use of it. Yeah. But anyway, like Batman, we're talking about Batman, Superman. The versus thing is what, like, the whole movie. We were talking earlier actually, and I was saying like the versus could be like, it doesn't have to be like a physical like Batman versus Superman the entire movie. There's obviously is going to be a physical confrontation. People want to see that, but like, it's going to be hard to pick sides, and it's going to be hard to have a. Like, I don't know what the rest of the story is. What's the rest of the movie after that?
Well, I'm sure there's Lex Luthor's probably going to be in it. If I was a betting man, I'm not really. I usually lose. If I was a betting man, I would put money on Lex Luthor being the main villain because he works for both Batman and Superman. You can be Superman's like physical, he hates Superman, right?
Yeah.
So, and he's also Batman / Bruce Wayne's like financial.
Yeah. Like the corporate side of it.
Yeah. I think that makes the most sense, and I mean, we've been talking about that for a long time. I think we might have even talked about that on the podcast before. Is like how.
So then the whole thing would be like Luthor kind of pitting them against each other without them knowing.
Yeah,
and that's why they're first, and then eventually they figure out that they are both good guys.
Well, then every good superhero team up movie or story needs to have them fight first. And then become
first,
friends.
But like this is saying that as versus that makes it seem like the entire movie they're going to be against each other.
I would call it that only because that would sell tickets.
That's ridiculous. Wow.
Batman versus Superman. Who doesn't want to go? Even if it's only one part of the movie, who doesn't want to go see that?
I don't know. Either way, like I'm pumped for the movie. It's a step in the right direction towards Justice League being done right.
Yeah.
So
that's almost definitely in the works. So
it has to be now.
The rumor is that they have they did Superman. They did Batman Superman's for sure. They have a Flash movie for the year after that, or a year or two after that, and then Justice League. That's the rumor at this point.
Huh. I
think the Flash movie would be cool. I think it changes the tone. I think if you go to Wonder Woman, obviously that also changes the tone, but it's such a dramatic shift. I mean, we've already talked about how Thor and Wonder Woman, to me, that's how you do a Wonder Woman movie. You do it the same way they did with Thor.
Yeah.
But you can maybe do Wonder Woman's whole thing in Justice League or something.
I'm sure you could. Like, it could be like, well, I mean, that's the way the animated series started out. Wonder Woman came to Earth, and like the rest of them were already kind of like together, fighting, and then she just showed up and started kicking ass, and it worked well enough, I guess. You probably want to, flesh it out a little bit more than that, but
yeah. They also said that Zack Snyder came out and announced it, but Goyer was also there, so Goyer is also going to be writing it as well. So he wrote Man of Steel. Yeah. He's going to be writing Batman, Superman.
Awesome.
They should just call it Batman, Superman. Drop the verses, drop the and, just Batman, Superman, / or something.
Yeah, that works for me, but
because that's what I was going to call it anyway. But now we've already been like speculating. Now it's for sure. Now who will be the next Batman? Like, I mean, there is already going to be a next one, but like, if the movie's coming out in 2016, That's only 2.5 years from now. I guess 3 years because it'll probably be about this time in
It'll be
2016.
summertime, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. Like, I still want Army Hammer. He kind of just had a flop with Lone Ranger, but I mean that probably wasn't his fault so much as the fact that the movie
He's
was
doing an alright job with it. Yeah,
he was already cast once for that Justice League movie that was never made, so maybe he'll be back in the casting chair again. But we'll see.
it's not a bad choice.
Who
I don't know. Like, you want it to be like a big and like physically imposing person.
you go with a
Like
name? Maybe like
not necessarily a no name. It doesn't have like. I'm sure there's plenty of actors that could fill the role. I'm talking like I'm just purely like physical
Ooh.
attributes. I just want like a big dude, maybe like a more stern and like imposing, like scary voice.
Carl Urban.
Carl Urban.
Carl Urban, who did Dread,
Yeah,
and he has the jawline for a sweet Batman, and and he can do a badass voice. Because I mean, I don't know, Dan, have you
I haven't
Dread
seen
3D?
Dread. No,
Oh, Dread 3D, so good.
really.
It
I
was
just know Carl Urban from like Pitch Black or from Chronicles of Riddick, rather.
and Star Wars or Star Trek, sorry.
Star Trek. Yeah,
He's McCoy.
Yeah.
I really like Carl Urban. I would like him
He's a good actor,
as Batman. I think he'd make a good. I don't know how much a good Bruce Wayne he would do, but I know he'd make a good Batman. I would be fine with a no name too. Just go and find someone who looks the right part, and who's good. Who's adequately good at acting, and then because when it comes to Batman, you have to be kind of more. You're really not showing very much emotion anyway, so so I would be fine with that too. Anything else you want to say on the Batman Superman movie? Who would you want to see as a villain if it wasn't Luthor?
if it's not Luther, that is. That's probably the best way to do it. I don't know. Can't think of anything right now. They can't do Joker again. Like in World's Finest, when like Batman and Superman first meet up, it's Luthor and Joker teaming up.
Mm-hmm.
They can't. They aren't going to touch Joker, not yet, anyways. Luthor's big enough, and he does touch on both of them. And anything bigger than that, any of the more like galactic kind of like Brainiac, like that, those would be like Justice League enemies. Those would be like everybody, not just like what difference does Batman make to Superman?
Mm-hmm. I'd love to see a Public Enemies movie one day.
Yeah, but see, then they have to have everything has to be established.
Yeah.
You need Justice League. You need a lot more characters for that to happen. It's the same idea as Marvel doing a Civil War movie.
Well,
everything needs to be established.
We'll get to that, but I'm pretty sure Avengers 3 will be Civil War.
You think?
Yeah, that's.
Well, I mean, they're introducing a lot of different franchises now, so there's enough, I guess.
By then, you should have Black Panther. You already have like.
I guess the biggest part of Civil War is Iron Man, Captain America.
Yeah,
and then people taking sides after that. Spider-Man was a big part of the comic books.
X-Men wasn't really ever a part of it.
X-Men wasn't. That's a good, yeah.
Yeah.
X-Men kind of stayed out of it.
You can drop Spider-Man. I mean, yes, that whole story of him revealing his identity is important, and we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves here, but I think you could.
Oh yeah, guess what? We're talking about Marvel now.
You can finagle in a Spider-Man deal. They've talked about it in the past. I don't see any reason you can.
Yeah,
get a Spider-Man
that company has
movie.
been more open to that, like the whole building thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I kind of focus on that a lot, but like that seems like such a like silver line, like a step in the right direction,
Well, I mean,
so like very very high hopes for that kind of deal being made.
The X-Men people came out and talked about that again during Comic-Con, saying they want that. They would love to see that happen.
Oh.
I mean, they'd love to see Wolverine in an Avengers movie or Iron Man in an X-Men movie or something like that. You know what I mean? But before we go all the way to Avengers and the Avengers 2 news, Justice League Flashpoint Paradox came out. I've seen it anyway. And I'm not going to talk too much about it because I think Jeremy's going to want to talk about it as well because he really liked Flashpoint.
Yeah, I don't know why he loved it so much, but he does.
But for me, it's not one of my favorites as far as the animated features. If I hadn't read the comic book, I would have almost no idea what was going on. It's very, I don't know how to put it exactly, but it's like the way it jumps from like the regular universe into like the Flashpoint version, like where everything's messed up and Superman or Wonder Woman and Aquaman are at war and stuff like that, is kind of jarring, and then you kind of still feel like you're catching up through the rest of the movie and trying to figure out what's going on.
Okay.
But that might be done on purpose because I guess maybe Flash doesn't know exactly what's going on. But it was still exciting. It was still cool to see Thomas Wayne's Bruce Wayne, Batman, who's a major part of it.
Yeah.
Even though he wasn't necessarily a major part of the full run of
He was a large part of the comic book run.
It was cool to see him just being brutal and like using guns and stuff like that.
Drinking his whiskey.
Yeah. But other than that, I mean, the rest of it was the voice acting was good. The animation was solid, but I don't know. There's something I have to watch it again. I watched it. It was honestly like 1 a.m. when I watched it, so I should probably go it again, give it another watch.
I don't know. So I haven't seen it, but from what I understand, it's like a much darker than any of the animated films have been.
Yeah.
In terms of violence, but like just in terms of subject matter. So like, I would be initially drawn to that kind of story, but I wasn't a huge fan of the comic book series, like the comic book run either, the Flashpoint books. So.
I know the Flashpoint was what ended up leading into the New 52, and I'm still not exactly sure how that works exactly, but I'll maybe look into that for next time. But as they always do in the animated features, they always tease the next one, right, when they at the end. And the next one is called Justice League War, and it's based on the first run of Justice League, Volume 1 of Justice League of the New 52, where they all meet each other.
Yeah.
So that either means that they're doing the New 52 stuff exclusively now, which might not necessarily be true, because now they're done Flashpoint, they can move into New 52, or they just thought that was a good story. It's not clear at this point, but
it is the cool, like the whole dark side, like the apocalypse invasion kind of deal.
Yeah, so that's what they're doing. So the very end of they did like a post credits thing at the end of Flashpoint, and it's a boom tube opening up, and the what are those things called?
Those robot.
Yeah, the half robot, half creature things. They have a cool name, but it's them coming through. So yeah, I was like, oh sweet, New 52. So we can talk about that.
It's cool, but like there aren't a lot of stories from the New 52 yet. You know, like they can make like 3 or 4 movies.
Yeah, but I mean, it's still they also have access to stuff that's coming out way ahead of time.
Yeah, so but maybe they don't want to get ahead of the comics either.
They can't get ahead of the comics. There's
plenty of stories from, I guess, do we call it the old 52 that they can still do?
Yeah, I guess. But I mean, to be fair, there's some pretty good stories you can do, especially from the Batman run. Like you could do
Court of Owls,
or Death of the Family.
Yeah,
those are both
Death
cool.
Of the Family is awesome.
Apparently a lot of the Wonder Woman stuff is really good. So I mean, like,
yeah. Well, it's kind of weird. I don't know. I've read both the first and second volume of the Wonder Woman. I bought them for my girlfriend, but they're okay.
You could do the JLA story. By the time they get around to it, you could probably do the Trinity War story if you wanted.
Well, we'll see how that pans out because that's ongoing right now.
Yeah, I've read the first 2 issues. Have you read any of them?
No, I haven't touched comics yet.
You should probably take a look at those. So okay, we can move over into Avengers territory now. Avengers 2 is going to be called Avengers 2: Age of Ultron. I think, is it Avengers 2 or just Avengers Age of Ultron? I think it's Avengers Age of Ultron.
That makes more sense. They're very much into not doing like 2s and 3s.
Yeah.
Like Thor: Dark World and stuff, right?
Is it still? Yeah. Is it not called Thor 2?
No, it's just called Thor: The Dark World.
They called Iron Man 1, 2, and 3. Why are those?
They did that with Iron Man. Captain America: Winter Soldier. They didn't call it Captain America 2.
Mm-hmm. See, there's another character they added right there. So when you do add Winter Soldier, that's 2 already from the Iron Man universe, right? As far as making a Civil War movie. But anyway, okay. That's just another thing. It's Age of Ultron is not based on the comic series that just came out like recently called Age of Ultron. Yeah, they're just borrowing the name. Essentially, that's
a cool name.
Yeah. So Whedon came out and said that it's going to be a new origin story for Ultron. That's what the movie's going to be. And that when he very first joined on to Marvel, he said, I don't know about this first movie, but we should do Ultron for the second one. Is what he was excited about. This whole reason he was excited about this whole Marvel thing is so he could do the Ultron story in the second one. Apparently, the title treatment that everyone at the Comic-Con panel saw was an Iron Man mask being like hammered with like some sort of hammer, being changed into like the face of Ultron with a big open mouth. You know.
Yeah.
So we already know that because I guess not necessarily because. Ant-Man's coming out the year after Avengers 2, but they've already said that Pym won't be in Avengers Age of Ultron, so there's it's gonna be someone else. It'll most likely be Iron Man who creates.
It makes sense for it to be Iron Man. But the other thing I was thinking is it could be like a Shield thing, and that's why in Captain America he's kind of fighting against Shield. You know?
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
So like if Shield is kind of having these crazy experiments or some kind of new technology, and they might accidentally invent the Ultron thing using maybe they stole Iron Man technology, or they used technology that Hank Pym had been working on before he became Ant-Man, and that like kind of leads into his own movie.
Yeah, you could probably maybe Ant-Man works for Shield, or
yeah, like he could have a cameo without being introduced as like the Ant-Man.
I don't think they haven't cast him yet, so I mean, and that movie has Avengers 2 isn't filming yet, so that's very possible.
But it does make sense for it to be Iron Man as well, because the part of the whole Ultron thing is it was created to be like this force of good by a hero that didn't want to be a hero, that didn't want to have to be a hero.
Yeah.
And it just completely backfired on
him. So he also said that there's going to be more Hawkeye stuff in this one. He felt like Hawkeye got the short end in Avengers 1. And
well, he was possessed, and then he became a character in like the final little bit, right?
Yeah. And the whole the whole way to solve being possessed is just hit him in the head really hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they fixed that, and then he was just like kind of there, and then that's it. But so he said that he'll have more of a role in this film. His character will be fleshed out more. So that's cool. And it'll have more of a science fiction-y vibe. But that's obvious if you're doing an Ultron story. I mean, that makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not much else was shown. I mean, because we weren't lucky enough to actually be at Comic-Con, there was a lot of footage from Thor shown. There was footage from some of the early footage from what's it called? Guardians of the Galaxy was shown as well. And I would have loved to have seen some of that stuff. But I mean, that stuff is hard it doesn't really leak anymore because they're so strict with the filming. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., so the television show was the premiere, the episode was shown, the pilot, and a couple outlets online have done reviews. People giving it have liked it, and Maria Hill makes a cameo apparently in the first episode. Colby, what's her name?
The Colby mothers, or something like that. Yeah. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, the girl from
Avengers.
Yeah, well, she's also in that show. What's it? Not Always Sunny, but that other one. Anyway, she's from a television show.
How I Met Your Mother.
How I Met Your Mother, yeah. So Colby Smulders, I think, is her name, or something like that. Anyway, so she did a cameo in there. They talked to Nick Fury's not in it, but Samuel Jackson said he would be open to being in the episode of the show a few times.
Sweet.
Yeah, so they're trying to stay away from being just a constant reference fest all the time, which makes sense, right? You don't want it to be just all the whole show just being about how does it tie into the movies, you know? Although they do that, there's a reference to Agent Romanov and stuff like that in the series, and that kind of stuff, though not huge big deal to people who don't know, but to us it's that's just adds that extra little bit, right?
Little things like that for sure.
I'm excited. So that premieres in the fall. So I'm excited to have a new show on the slate for the fall. Considering I can't really think of I guess Community will be back, but we don't.
Well, they haven't given Community a date yet.
Yeah, because it'll just be. It's also going on Comedy Central, isn't it? Is it also Community?
No, I thought NBC renewed it for 13 episodes.
Yeah, but I think they're also putting it.
Older episodes are on Comedy Central. Okay. I don't know if they're doing new run stuff.
Okay.
I doubt NBC would let that happen.
Well, they might just to get the money because NBC. I don't know if you know this. NBC's not doing.
They're not doing well. And Community is surprisingly one of their better comedies for the Thursday night kind of.
Yeah.
They had to drop a lot of shows, but. Up All Night was a pretty funny show too. Did you ever watch Up All Night?
I haven't seen it.
It had some. I never watched it religiously, but it was a pretty funny show from what I did see. Will Arnett's hilarious, so what more do you want?
I'm excited for more Archer in the fall, actually.
Yes, Archer is a great show.
Oh, the best. What else is... I guess Ninja Turtles, but that's kind of a different whole genre. Ninja Turtles and more cartoon stuff will be there as well. I mean, Avengers are just started, the Avengers Assemble is in its third episode. Second episode... I've did the two-parter premiere, right? That kind of
Yeah, I watched those.
Kind of brings in like from Earth Mightiest Heroes as a continuation, but not really. Kind of. Anyway,
and it's also very heavily influenced by the movie.
yeah. So second episode, it was more of like an intimate story. It's just like in the Avengers Tower. Kind of liked it a little bit more. It's kind of growing on me. Still can't watch Ultimate Spider-Man. That show, or yeah, Ultimate Spider. It drives me nuts. I can't do it. So so far, Avengers hasn't got itself into that trap where it's doing those stupid like tearaway and cutaway jokes. But maybe that's just a Spider-Man thing. Also, the Agents of Smash, the Hulk show, also just premiered. I haven't seen the episode. I haven't seen it yet, but a Hulk television show has also really appealed to me. Especially when it's like She-Hulk, Hulk, and like others are in there. I'm not sure who else is it. Other smashing people. I think Red Hulk maybe.
Probably. Maybe Scar.
Oh yeah, I think Scar's maybe in there as well. Is there any other TV stuff? I mean, anything else out of Community that we can talk about since we're already talking television?
Briefly talking about Community. It got renewed for a 5th season. Dan Harmon, the creator, is back, so that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
The first 2 seasons are some of the best, like the funniest shit I've ever seen in my life, and that was all him. And now he's back. So last season wasn't as bad as people like. I think it was very negatively criticized.
Yeah, I didn't hate it as much as everyone else seemed to, because
it did have a few hit or miss episodes. Same with season 3, but like the hit episodes were still like on par. Like they were the same like perfect Community episodes that just are hilarious. So now he's back. Hopefully season 5 will be a lot more of that. One bad thing, Pierce Chevy Chase left last season, so he won't be. Yeah. And now Donald Glover has said that he is going to have like a
reduced role.
Much reduced role. He's only going to be in like 5 episodes approximately.
Well, that's about half, so that's not too bad.
It's just under half, yeah. But that's still like that was a huge part of the show, especially the Troy Abed dynamic. You know,
yeah. So
like, what does Abed do without Troy? He doesn't really connect with anybody else in the group on that same level. Jeff a little bit, but like,
well, maybe that'll be a part of the story
that's
that season.
One thing throughout this whole like the Community, like this entire run, all 4 seasons, has had a very like tumultuous kind of run on things, and the writers have done a great job of like running and just like running with everything, and they've worked the whole Chevy leaving into the story in a very like in a cool way. And like the thing with the show being so meta, they find ways to reference their fans. Like there was that one episode that Abed was afraid of moving on because it was an episode that everybody thought would be the end of the show, and they referenced the fans through Abed in such a way. So the writers of the show, especially, Dan Harmon gets overseed. He doesn't write as much anymore, but I think his name is Chris McKenna is one of the big writers, and now he's signed on as a producer as well.
Okay.
And Megan Gans and stuff like that. Like they're all still working on the show, so I have faith in the writers of the show to work it in and make it work. I mean, obviously it would be better if he was a part of the show, but I think they'll make it work in such a way that it won't be too jarring, hopefully.
Well, I'm excited to see how it works.
Either way, yeah, it's great stuff.
I watched it as one block from season 1 all the way through the end of season 4. I didn't see a big difference between 2, 3, and 4. 4 was a little bit hit and miss, so was 3. But like I felt like there was episodes in season 1 and season 2 that I didn't like as much as well. So I mean, to me it's very, I mean, season 1 and season 2 have a lot of great episodes, don't get me wrong. But there was still a couple of if you can do hits and misses, there's still a couple misses in there, in my opinion.
The only one in season 2, the celebrity pharmacology episode where they do the play for like Brita, like about drugs and stuff like that.
Yeah, that one sucks.
That was the only miss in season 2 in my mind.
I have to go back and watch some of them again. Obviously, I watched it all as one run, so that they all kind of blend together. But I'm excited. I mean, it quickly became one of my favorite shows, and I mean, if it doesn't, I mean, we don't know when they're going to premiere these episodes, but when they do, I'll be there.
Absolutely.
What else?
Other TV news. I haven't caught up on Newsroom yet, but it's premiered on the 14th.
Oh, that's right.
I think I'm 2 episodes behind right now.
Yeah, I watched half of the first episode, then I fell asleep.
Okay.
It's not. I was just also really tired. It's not a negative comment on Community Newsroom. I really like Newsroom. Some of it's a little like not so much cheesy. I kind of find the whole thing where this universe where it's the same as our universe, except for there's one other news network, right?
Yeah.
That's the only difference.
Yeah.
And they were following this one other news network that doesn't exist in our real world. How they always seem to have that one guy or someone who's like who's figured out what the hit story is before it all blows up, and everyone else doesn't know.
They do it in a way that's not like, oh, I just saw this on Twitter or something. Like, they do it in a smart way.
Well, if you watch the first episode of this season, you know that one guy who's always who's the guy who's on Twitter and
like the tech guy, the Indian
tech guy, yeah. So in this episode, he's he finds out about this whole Occupy Wall Street little movement that's going on in the background. He's like, I think it's gonna be a big deal. It's not just a small thing or whatever. And then it's like, okay.
Okay, but I guess with a story like that, something like that, or the Arab Spring, like those were very social media
No, I get it.
Things. It makes sense for him to find it on Twitter because that's the essence of what that movement was about.
It didn't blow up until it blew up, right? And no one was really paying attention. So I just that's my one qualm. It's it's very convenient that they always find how does no one other there's no one smart at any other news network. There's no one smart at NBC or Fox or anything doing anything.
Okay, think about that, but
ABC. But really though, I mean,
but
it's just very convenient. Maybe not Fox, but still.
Yeah. The only other bit of TV stuff is Breaking Bad premieres August 11th.
Yeah.
I think we should get Jeremy to rate reviews for that. He loves it. I love the show too, but
it's the last season. You might as well get someone to do it. I mean, I'm not
one of us will do it. If Jeremy doesn't want to, I will.
Okay. He's still not even considered a contributor on the website at this point. He has yet to write a single article.
He'll get there.
One day. I mean, he's busy working.
He loves the show. I think he would like to do that. Like that, he would have he has a cool take on the show.
Yeah.
So let him do that.
So yeah, look forward to that. Do we want to move back into more Comic-Con stuff?
Well, the other stuff, the only thing we really didn't talk about, there's some Spider-Man images and Jamie Foxx's Electro.
Yeah, well, it's
cool.
And what's his name? Who's playing Andrew Garfield came out and did an interview as Spider-Man.
Okay. Which
is kind of cool. Dressed in his Spider-Man stuff and came out and did a whole thing. I didn't see it, but I heard it was really good. X-Men stuff was pretty big. They showed the head of what the Sentinels will look like, and they confirmed that we already knew that Peter Dinklage would be playing Bolivar Trask, who created the Sentinels. And the whole bunch, the whole cast was there, the old cast and the new cast, and they showed stuff from Days of Future Past, and that's really exciting. Wolverine comes out a couple days.
Yeah,
Thursday.
It comes out Thursday. Yeah, we gotta get tickets to that.
I'm excited for that. Everything I've heard so far has been good buzz as far as this is what the solo Wolverine movie should have been the first time around.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some RoboCop footage shown. They showed what RoboCop actually looks like. I think it's kind of funny, but they so the whole story is whatever the organization that makes these robots or whatever, right? And then this cop something happens to him, and they essentially amputate his body from his head and attach his head to a machine, but leave his right hand is the only other human part apparently, so that when he shakes hands it's normal. Isn't that weird? That's weird. Makes sense. Does it though? Nope. I mean, for the record, RoboCop never really did. It's not supposed to make sense. I hope it's as cool as Dread 3D was, because Dread 3D is just the best. It's just the best. You need to go watch it. It's so good, Dan. So good. I should. For those of you guys out there who haven't seen Dread 3D, it's amazing. It's the cult hit of that I was in from the ground floor on. It made no money. It made absolutely no money. Yeah. But it was fucking cool. And then for those of you who really like the movie, there's actually a comic, I think it might be just a digital comic, that follows continues the story as a comic book. So that's I also saw a piece of Fight Club's being made into a graphic novel now. That's right. By the same writer as the original novel. Yeah. But yeah, he's not ready. It's not like a direct sequel of the movie or the book necessarily. No. Apparently. But it's the same character. Well, it is. I guess it has to be a sequel. It's a sequel to the book, not the movie, because the book ends differently apparently than the movie does. That's one of my favorite movies. Speaking of Fight Club Fight Club's back. You can go see Fight Club next week in theaters. They do that rehash, like whatever.
Okay, yeah.
I might go and watch Fight Club.
I'm probably not. I literally like just watched it with my girlfriend.
I love Fight Club. It's like, oh, I was just talking with people with what my like top favorite three favorite movies were with, I think, at work, and Fight Club was in there.
Fight Club, Forrest Gump, and Saving Private Ryan. Shut up.
No, Saving Private Ryan, Fight Club, and Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah, whatever.
Those three are my favorite movies. What do you mean, whatever? Those are all
you're
great
wrong.
movies.
You're wrong. Those are the wrong choices.
Okay,
whatever.
What's yours? The Road?
I don't know. I'd have to really think about it, but you're wrong.
Off the top of your head, 3 favorite movies right now.
No.
Top of your head.
I don't want to do it.
Easy. It's so easy. Just okay.
No,
top.
I have to sit down and think about it. There's too many. I can't do this.
All right.
There's some that are fresh in my mind right now, but then I'm just looking at my movie shelf right now, and I'll remember like, oh shit, like Pitch Black is a sweet movie.
But that's not in your top 3. There's no way.
It's not
Pitch
in my
Black
top
is in your
3,
top
but it's
3
in my
movies.
top 10.
Is it actually?
Yeah.
Man, that's oof. Okay. But I think that pretty much covers everything that happened at Comic-Con. Do we have anything else that we want to talk about? I mean, nothing really. Have you played any games this week? Anything new?
Nothing new. The only other thing, the Kick-Ass 2 trailer, that's not huge, like a big deal, but I want to see it, the movie, anyways.
I'm excited for Kick-Ass 2. I mean,
the first movie was very it surprisingly enjoyed that movie a lot more than I thought. I knew I could be like a fun little cool movie, but I got really into that movie.
No, I really like Kick-Ass. I also it helps that what's his name, the villain in Kick-Ass, Mark Strong. He's like one of my favorite actors. So that helps too.
But from did you watch the trailer?
Yeah, no,
it seems like they like really took things to the next level. Like they're actually like training hard, and it's like they're becoming more like conventional superheroes, like what we would like Batman and stuff like they're. The guy's ripped in the movie, and they have like actual like technique fighting. It's not just some amateur thing.
Yeah, well, they have and Jim Carrey looks. I'm like, I love seeing Jim Carrey in pretty much anything because he's like my favorite.
Yeah.
But he came out just recently and just like distanced himself from the film. He's just saw it for the first time and said like didn't really like the violence or whatever. But he's always been very anti against gun and like. So that makes sense, but I guess it's kind of like it's odd that.
But that's what that movie's all about.
It's odd that he would. Why would you make the movie and then come out and speak against it? People don't really. I don't really like that. I think that's. I don't know, but whatever. I think that pretty much covers everything that I have to talk about. I mean, if there's any news that I missed today, I don't think there has been. No.
That probably does it for me.
Yeah. Glenn
for
Close
now,
confirmed his Guardians against Nova Prime. Okay.
We'll see Wolverine on Thursday. We'll do a review or something for that. We'll talk about it next week.
Yeah. So there might be an X-Force trailer or movie. Did we talk about this last week?
Yeah, we did talk about that.
Yeah, okay.
Last week.
Okay, cool. Anyway, we will be back next week. Make sure to subscribe to us on iTunes and Stitcher. We got our, check us out on the site at towerbabblepodcast.com. Subscribe or follow us on Twitter at TowerBabbleCast. I'm on Google Plus and on YouTube. So if you're interested, find us, subscribe. It helps helps boost my confidence. So for nothing
especially
else,
those 2 comments made our day.
I
like the shit out of this shit.
Well, I gotta say we only had 3 comments ever. Well, we had the 2 today on the site, and they had some comments from before on the YouTube stuff, but none of them have been actually ever really negative, which I really appreciate.
Yeah, that's not what I expect. I expected this, I expected people to hate, be a lot of hate initially.
Yeah, people
just because that's the way the internet works. Yeah. But that probably means that we don't have that many people watching because if there's more people watching, we're going to be getting a lot of idiots.
Eventually,
naysayers and whatnot.
One day we'll have our own haters, Dan. maybe next year we'll go to Comic-Con and then we'll get their haters that way.
Yeah.
In the meantime, we will talk to you guys next week.
See you.
Bye.